Welcome to Mika Amchi Israel. For the very first time since we began this journey together 2 years ago, there was no derasha last week. My father, couple Dov Ben Gittel, returned his soul to the Creator. And as I sat Shiva, surrounded not by noise, but by a blend of silence and family and friends, a silence that spoke the weight of memory, of love and loss. And in that stillness, I found myself thinking not just about life and death, but about the sacred power of speech and who carries the weight of others when words can no longer protect them. In Parashat, Naso Moshe Rabbeinu was told by Borei Olam, gather 70 men whom you know to be the elders of the people. It sounds redundant. Why must Moshe gather elders who he knows? Rav Baruch Mordechai Ezrachi Zatzal explains, these were the men who in Mitzrayim stepped forward when the Egyptian whips were aimed at Jewish slaves. They didn't flinch. They took the beatings themselves so their brothers wouldn't suffer. Those are the leaders Hashem Yitbarach wanted, not charismatic and not loud, but willing to bleed for others silently. Rabbi Yosef Padzanovsky adds, when Hashem Yitbarach placed His Spirit upon them, He gave them a beracha, may they be patient like you, Moshe. Because true leadership isn't built on power or persuasion, it's built on patience and self-sacrifice. To lead is to absorb pain, not to cause it. To protect, not punish. To speak only when words heal and to be silent when silence shields. And with that, I share a story I recently heard. In Eretz Yisrael, there lived a child prodigy. His name was Yosef. He was a top student at Technion, a golden child with a golden path. His future was bright. He was an engineer, an innovator, and a leader. But Borei Olam had other plans. At late night shiur near his dorm opened something within him, then another, and slowly Torah overtook him. His world flipped. The textbooks turned to Sifarim. The lectures gave way to late nights in the Bet Midrash. His parents were stunned. His mother especially, she was livid. You were on track to build something real, she would cry. But to Yosef, this was real. This was eternal, and years passed. His growth was dazzling, and then came the simcha. He got engaged. The joy in the yeshiva was contagious. The dancing was endless, but under the surface, something cold remained. And as the wedding plans progressed, his mother asked him one day, are you really going to have a wedding with a mechitza? Yosef looked at her gentle, respectful, and said, yes, Ima. That's the way it's going to be. Her response, if that's the case, I won't be there. Of course, she said it in pain, maybe in anger, but it hung in the air like a curse. The night of the wedding arrived. Yosef stood beneath the chuppah. His Rebbe walked him down, but his eyes kept darting towards the entrance. He was waiting. They never came. Then came the knock, a whisper, a car accident. His parents were taken to the hospital. His father survived, his mother hanging by a thread. The very next morning, someone knocked again. This time, it was none other than Chacham Ovadia Yosef Zatzal. And without a word, Yosef knew. She hadn't just missed the wedding, she had fulfilled her own sentence. If that's the case, I won't be there. Ladies and gentlemen, she hadn't meant it. It was pain. It was in a moment. But perhaps, just perhaps, Shemayim listens much more closely than we realize. This past week was quiet, but not the quiet of rest. It was the quiet of reckoning. And in that stillness, a truth began to echo louder than any words. The ones who change the world, they don't raise their voices. They raise others. They shield and they absorb and they carry without ever asking to be seen. That's who Moshe Rabbeinu was told to gather. And that's exactly who my father was. No spotlight, no speeches, just purity in presence, quiet, steady, immovable. And now the words of Mishlei, they land differently. Maved v'chaim biyad lashon, death and life are in the power of the tongue. Not just metaphorically, literally, because there are words that heal, and of course there are words that haunt. Words that build worlds and words that unravel them. Not in public, not in headlines, but in a kitchen, in a car, at a simcha, on the way to a wedding. Words whispered in pain, words said in passing, words that no one else even heard except Shemayim. So what will be remembered? What slips from our mouths in frustration? What echoes when we think no one is listening? Or will it be something else? A word that held someone steady, a sentence that stopped someone from breaking, a silence that saved a soul. Because those Those are recorded too, and maybe they matter most. So may Am Yisrael become the kind of people Moshe was told to gather, not perfect, but patient, not loud, but holy. People who lead not with noise, but with quiet conviction. Words that uplift, silencing shields, whose very lives speak louder than any speech. The kind of presence who shares a message with humility, with sincerity, and lead through quiet, unshakable purity, as my dad did, without fanfare and without force, just by being exactly who he was. May we follow in the footsteps of steady, gentle, and true people, and may our lives echo long after the words and expectations are gone. Mika Amcha Yisrael, Yihi Zichro Baruch, Shabbat Shalom Mevorach.